All right, and we're live. This is going to be the KKK Brainstorm Part 1, not the first podcast, but the first Brainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
It's TBD right now whether or not this will go live or stay in the ether, so we'll see how offensive it gets.
It might just stay in the depths of...
The archives.
In the archives, yeah. You know, like in Indiana Jones, the big warehouse, in The Last Crusade, you know, where they keep the Ark and everything like that.
It's where I keep my porn.
Yeah. It's a lot of porn.
It's what it looks like in my smart folder.
Is it really?
Yeah, my secure folder. It's
What's your top 3 categories?
Oh, that's a question. I love backroom casting.
Yeah.
r/abuse porn 2 before it got took down on Reddit.
Yeah.
That was like some premium grade snatch. And then I think it's probably going to be a tie up between cream pie gangbangs or brace face.
Okay.
What about you?
Taboo porn right at the top. I'm not talking what are you doing, step bro. Why are the people there? That just really ruined that for me.
They just came right out and I looked and I was like, ah! For a little bit of context, if this ever goes out, we are sat in a fucking in a shared garden right now, chatting bare shit as we do.
In our Airbnb.
We bob and we weave.
Yeah. But yeah, so probably taboo porn, which doesn't necessarily have to be what you doing, stepbro. It's more daddy, stepdaughter, uncle kind of vibes, you know. Cream pie gangbangs, love that.
Right. Now, do you like the subreddit or the actual brand, or both?
The actual brand.
The actual brand. Yeah. I find their contents high quality, actually realistic.
And glory holes.
Or glory holes. Now, glory hole secrets, or the check ones.
Check ones.
Interesting. You ever been a fan of like the fake taxis or anything like that?
I watch fake taxis just to laugh.
So do
fake
I.
driving instructor as well is also a really good one to laugh at. Is when you're watching her trying to reverse and he's like, "You dickhead, why the fuck can't you reverse?"
See, now I never used to. No, don't like the fake driving ones. Can't even watch them to laugh. When I was really young, I used to watch some of the fake taxi UK ones when I didn't have access to good porn, but not for the taxi element, just because it would have like some cute girls. Now it's went really bimbo fetish. You know, they've steered into that as well as the taxi, because that got old. But I feel like back, you know, however long ago now, what 10. Or probably 13 odd years ago, it was very much orientated around the taxi element, and it was quite cute girls, and they were still using it as a gateway into the porn industry. You know, so yeah, but then it sort of faded and lost its joy. But the backroom casting couch stuff, I've always really been drawn to that genre.
Also, really, same as you. Also, really enjoyed like the abuse, the really, not necessarily violent, but the really
hardcore stuff. There's a lot of that now on. It's become a lot more acceptable on Pornhub. You know, for independent creators, you know, and that I actually
wasn't for such a long time.
It wasn't, and I can't remember any of the names. I've actually got them bookmarked somewhere. But I did go through like a deep dive and find a fair few like independent creators that are very much in line with me and you actually. That's been quite an enjoyable experience, because I think I enjoy watching kinky porn, but only when it's real. You know, only when it's real. Otherwise, backroom casting's my way to go.
My thing is, if I'm not watching Cream Pie Gangbangs and I'm not watching something on like the Taboo channel, I want to watch amateur porn, where I know the fact that it's real between two people that have literally just set up their camcorder on the side of the room.
100%. You know, it's real, it's authentic.
And I want to watch it all unfold. I want to watch the whole session unfold.
Exactly. There's no need this fake noises or anything. That's why I like the casting couch. If I'm not going amateur, no embellishment, no fake orgasms and all this nonsense.
Trying to get amateur porn on Pornhub now is really difficult.
It's so tricky, right?
They took all of it down.
They've wiped the fucking web. I've been kicking myself because I've never been one to have like a big hard drive stash of porn, right? But I did used to keep some of my favourites on file. And about a couple years back now, I deleted them all. I did a hard wipe while I was still with Joelle. And a lot of that was amateur OG Pornhub stuff, like the classics, and they're all fucking gone. So now I have to go and fucking, when I get the time, go back through and torrent it all.
You know, sometimes when you're laying in bed and you're scrolling through Pornhub and just nothing's really doing it for you, like, where's that video that got me off 4 years ago?
100%.
You know?
100%. And it's just nice to be able to pull that up and...
But you can't get it.
You can't get it anymore. There is one video on X Hamster, I don't know if it's still there, but it's this amateur Scottish girl, right? It's about 35 seconds long. But he pisses on her. She asks for more, and he slaps her, and it's the way he slaps her, and like her wince afterwards, that's just like, oh, it's like 2 or 3 amateur Scottish. It's proper feral, Gina, and there's like 2 or 3 of them hidden in the depths of X Hamster. Bad quality, but like supreme bitches, you know, like it's just perfection. Fruit
Also
fruit.
hentai as well for me. A little bit of hentai. Something you
Okay.
would have guessed about me is that.
No, I wouldn't have put that in your category specifically. It's not surprising, but it's unexpected. Interesting.
You know, it's one of those. You know, all of a sudden, it was one of those things. I stumbled upon it one day as part of my nightly routine. Fancied something different. Stumbled on it. This was a couple of years ago now. Stumbled on it. I thought, oh, I quite like this. I quite like this quite a lot.
Quite
And then all of a
enjoy it.
sudden, it started becoming a bit of a. Oh, no, I'm bored of that category now. Okay, let's go back to hentai. Oh, what's new?
Okay, you
And
got
then
to dabble in.
And then you can watch some of your favourite, like, Resident Evil characters just, you know, Nemesis absolutely going to town on them.
Oh. Yeah, see, I've never really. I think for me, anything animated doesn't really do it because I'm really drawn to the real life, me feeling as well as the physical parts. I think I enjoy seeing the real human reactions and interactions, and that doesn't really transpose across into the animated way. So I've never really dove into it deeply. I've had an abject appreciation, but never really.
I feel like this is the reason why I like hentai, is because for me, in order for me to have sex with somebody, I feel like I do need to have a connection. I know we laugh about what I do and how many people I've gone through and stuff like that, but in order for me to do it, I need to have a connection with them. And hentai is a way for me to just kind of get off without having to feel like there is a connection there.
Interesting. Now, do you think you need to have a connection in order to fuck, or you've wired yourself that sex and having a connection, you're filling both those voids at the same time in the same thing?
I need to have a connection in order to have sex with somebody.
Interesting.
If not, then I am picking up my bag and leaving the house.
Sure.
It's happened on a very handful of occasions. But,
her leaving the house, not having sex.
Yeah. But, you know, I like to have a connection with somebody. When I was younger, very much was, you know, went into the house, watched Netflix for an hour, get down and dirty, and then leave. You know, now I don't want to do that. I want to watch Netflix for 2 hours, do something, and then want to stay and watch more Netflix.
Get some takeaway later, roll a joint, you know what I mean? Maybe fall asleep, maybe don't, but there's no real pressure. It's like chill vibes. You don't feel... It's not as transactional, while it's still casual situationship. I think there's been a shift there. I echo that sentiment myself, and I think that it's okay to want to have a friend situationship. Do you know what I mean? For it to be a little bit more than just the pure physical in that interaction with someone, because it's nice to be able to emotionally and sexually recharge. Right, it's not about being romantic with the person, but having a good time, hanging out.
There's something about afterwards. You just want a little cuddle.
Exactly right. You just want a little cuddle.
Just want a little cuddle. Nothing really wrong with that.
Like, for example, today, right, we went shopping. Right, I haven't been shopping with someone or a girl in yonks. Right, this hasn't happened. And while we were going around, it's not in a romantic way, but I was like, you know what? I've loved this. This has been great, as well as being with you. But the abject activity of going shopping with a girl, right? That's something that I would quite happily do with a girl that I was in a situationship with, or seeing casually just for a little bit of fun right that afternoon now. And that's not about trying to make it a date or overly romantic or lead it somewhere, but that activity and spending time with someone can be just as fulfilling, if not more fulfilling, when combined with the sexual aspect that you both pair, right? I'm not saying just go shopping with a girl or just fuck a girl, but if you combine them together and do it all as part of sort of one swoop, fuck yeah.
Let's face it, if you take a girl, you know, we're going to go shopping. I'm not taking you shopping, but we're going to go wander around the shops and whatever. You wander into Ann Summers, you buy something from Ann Summers, you let her go home, put it on, then you absolutely roll the shit out of her in it. It's as simple as that.
100%. Excellent investment.
You know, but it's that thing. It's like, obviously, me and you, we've gone shopping before we haven't actually gone clothes shopping, if that makes sense. We go around a lot of antique stores and bookstores and stuff like that. We haven't actually gone shopping for things for us.
No, it's very much been window shopping of our soul. You know what I mean?
Like, around and we've gone, oh God, could you imagine that in our mansion?
100%.
On the estate.
You know, let's go look at the Astons. Let's go and have a look at that. You know, let's go and have some fun.
That's it. You know, that's in my office. That's the desk. That's the oak desk that's going in my office, and that's what we've done. But it was nice today to actually see a different side of each other, which is extremely fucking impulsive. You blinked in 1 second, I'm at the cash register.
Couldn't take my eyes off you for a second without you fucking running away and queuing, honestly.
And then also, but go through with you and you actually think, I'm actually quite good help when it comes to shopping.
Yeah, for sure. I think I am too.
No, you are really good help.
But you're very good help.
You're a hype man to me.
100%. It was actually, I think it's quite a nice experience going with a girl who was a friend and a boy who was a friend on the inverse, because I think we both found through the day, as we were trying to understand each other's styles better, but B, each bouncing ideas and questions and insecurities of each other that you can't necessarily do when you're on your own or with someone of the opposite sex or someone in the family, but just be able to, for me to pick someone up and go, hey, look, how would I look in this, or how am I pulling this off, or we were even walking down the street the other day and I was like, look, what does my style rightness say about me? It's not about, I'm comfortable with how I look, but how am I coming across? To get that from the outside, it's quite it was nice, and it's nice to do it in that environment, because we talk a lot, and we're very close friends, and we're in each other's worlds a lot, but it's not unless you're sometimes in environments that spark certain types of conversations, right? If we went to an amusement park, I'm sure we would learn more about each other's adventurous side and what we wanted to go do and see. And like when we went through the Cotswolds, we talked more about houses and adventure and travel. You go and you do different things, and it sparks different lanes. And it was interesting to go down that lane, and sort of, it was really useful and enjoyable, and really a really, really fun experience to go through.
I think we learned more about each other than we actually realised. Because me going shopping is different. If I go shopping with my best friend Ash, I don't feel so self-conscious about it anymore, because she doesn't, like, it's very much to do with my size and everything like that. When we sat in the pancake place this morning going shopping, I was a bit like, I actually feel nervous going shopping with someone that I've never been shopping with before, because I don't want them to judge me for the things that I pick up, or thinking the fact that I can't pull it off because of my size. And then I remembered, I was like, I'm with my best friend, it doesn't fucking care.
It's with me.
I'm with you, it doesn't matter. And it's all of those things. And I know the fact that obviously if I pulled out something and I'd be like, yeah, do you know what, I quite like this, and if you were like, no, Gina, I love you, but no. It's the same thing if you picked up a really like dorky shirt and be Jamal, I love you, but no.
Yeah, even like, nah,
I think we've learnt more about each other just in terms of each other's insecurities, as we said.
100%, and even I, at least on my side, I can't speak for you, but maybe through some of your reactions, you'll agree through the day or the days. Like, there's been a few things that I have had spinning around in my head over the last couple of weeks or months, and thinking about, and running them by you in person, big or small, just getting that like seal. Do you know what I mean? And just being like, hey, what about this? Or what about how I'd handled that? You know what I mean? Or X or Y. It's just nice to and sometimes it's nice to
nice to see my reaction for a change.
It's nice to see your reaction.
You hear it a lot, because obviously we talk pretty much every single night on the phone, and we voice note throughout the day and stuff like that, and we give each other news and we hear each other's reactions, but it's nice to actually see a person's face.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's been nice to dive into some of the nitty-gritty in a way that you can't do on a call that cuts out. You can do in voice notes, but then the voice notes get long, and then you're trying to move like there's some,
and you can't remember the
specific bits. Yeah, and so sometimes it's more like when you're voice noting, it's more giving the person, having the ability to give the person the detail, have them listen to it once, but they're not trying to recall or address specific underlying granularity, right? It's, I'm going to give you all of the details so you understand what I'm talking about, and then you're going to give me high level responses, and we'll talk at that level. Whereas it was nice to be able to, like, when we were talking about contracting and stuff in the park on the way to the bus, to be able to go, bear with me here, and draw out a different map, and to do that in real time, and to not only be able to do it in real time and come to a conclusion together. Again, that's one thing about the back, to be able to go, right, what do you think? Okay, cool, so that's the way. Right, okay, cool, and then to spiral it through.
And me and you have expertise in different avenues.
Absolutely, we complement each other pretty well.
We complement each other pretty well in terms of the fact that with your contract and things like that, I know the recruitment world really well, and stuff like that. I'd say the fact I know it pretty well, and I could steer you in the right direction. You steer me, on the other hand, towards different things. You've steered me to be the person that I need to be, the better person of me. I've steered you in terms of your career and financial prosperities and things like. And to be fair, we've both done it personally, but we've done different things for each other. However, it has really worked out in the long run.
It has. We've got a good balance. I think you know HR, and more than that, commercial and retail broadly, and logistics very well. That's your space, that's your background, different family backgrounds, your area. You're very well connected to that, and your knowledge of that is very, very in depth. I have a financial, B, corporate background. Right? I
Yeah.
think that's where I help, especially with B&M, and applied the same logic to your parents. But in terms of coming in with a more corporate attitude to the way you address your employer, and being like, no, well, this is how my
Yeah.
way would go, and then for you to be able to parrot back, okay, well, this is how my side is, you know, and to try and find the balance between, because there are pros and cons to commercial retail versus
Yeah.
corporate, and it's been quite nice to sort of pull the best from both worlds. And outside of just the current, when we've been planning out the Brady Group and the wider plans that we've got going forward, I feel like we're a very complementing team in the way that we build plans and we spitfire off each other. Like we were talking the other night about me wanting to renovate vans, and then I was like, right, well, shall I buy a mechanics shop? And you were like, right, we'll rent it out to like 3 or 4 contract mechanics.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that. And not like that would have not that avenue right there would have not crossed my
I think
mind.
of it like hairdressers in salons.
Yeah,
They rent a chair.
You use that exact analogy, and you were like, boom, do it like that. And it was this light bulb moment. I was like, I would never have thought of that, right? And so between the two of us, I had that top level idea of this. I want to have the facilities to make, manufacture, renovate cars and vans, and my initial plans for that would have been capital intensive. You know, I've got to buy the place, I've got to hire the people, and we were talking through it. But from that starting point to the end of it, what did we get it down to, like 10, 15 grand?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All in deposit and getting a couple
Buying
people
a
on.
workshop.
Yeah, buying a workshop and getting it going, right? So it became a much more achievable item, and I think we've got really good.
We both got really good knowledge on either sides of the spectrum.
Absolutely, like I hope I made sense last night when I was talking through the wider pictures, especially when I went quite big, right, to buying villages and military, you know, and doing the big Brady Group. And I've got the vision and the ability to draw those big lines together and make that whole cogs turn, like the big cog turn.
Yeah.
But in terms of the little cogs, that's not my area. No. You have that area. You've been hiring for that area in different capacities for you. You've been in that world. You've been dealing with that. And so, and not in a, just from the different ways, right? Like when I think of the warehouse, I think of an asset on a balance sheet and how we move the revenue through it, right? And when I think of trucks, I just think of how much is it going to cost us and the fuel and the driver. You think of the driver, the driver's union, the rest, the amount that don't turn up, you know what I mean, the rehire, you see the reality of it, and actually getting the water to flow. I can build the pipes, but you're actually going to get the water fucking through it.
Yeah.
You know, in a way that I couldn't in as efficient and effective a way.
But this is the thing, though. You're the financial person, I'm the people person.
100%.
On the basis of the fact that I'm the people person because I know people. I don't particularly like them, but I'm very good with them.
Absolutely. Like my skills are in motivating a high level team to change the world.
Yeah.
You're able to build me an army
to motivate people to change the world.
To change the world. You know, genuinely. Yeah. I can deal with that. I was talking about last night. I want you to headhunt for me at that senior level, as well as in whatever capacity you decide. And maybe it'll be, the way I see it is probably once we get to the point where we've got money coming in and plans, to the point where I'm like, right, I need you on full time to actually hire people just through the businesses and manage people. And then we'll get to the point where you don't have to do all of that. We'll get management underneath you to handle the people, and you can just handle the overall vision and structure, as well as headhunting and recruiting for like senior execs on a rolling basis.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be a good handle it until the point where we can hand the reins over to someone you've hired and trained. You go, they can be your head of HR, you know, for the Ready Group, and you're not doing that anymore. You're just chief of peeps, and you handle chief of peep stuff. Because what I also want you to be doing with me is I don't want you to just handle the people. I want you to be involved in the. I want us to set up I basically want to go in and turn around failed businesses, either because we see potential revenue in their current model and what they do, or we want their assets, we want to bring them into the Grady Group and either have that form part of an in-house flow of product, or we want to repackage it and brand it out and sell it back off, right? And so what I want to do is get to the point in, like, say 3 to 5 years where it's me, you, a team of say 5 to 10 people all working remote, and we have the facilities and resources, and we're looking, and something pops in our inbox where one of the guys is like, hey, I was checking the Financial Times today, this business is going into dissolution. They've got 200 grand worth of diggers and right, we're bidding on it. We're down there today. We're looking
Yeah.
at the diggers. Right, we'll keep 4 of those for the self, for the boys. You know, for the construction. Right, Gina, you can flip the other 6. Right, done. Let's,
Yeah.
you know, and be moving around with stuff, and be able to be agile like that. To go and see properties. To be at auctions. To be hustlers, but in like our own way. You know, carve out our own niche of doing it. I really see as commercial property. Buying it, turning the spaces into places that are usable for startups, entrepreneurs, charities, etc. Buying it, and as we were talking about, like low cost places, you know, I mean, adding value to it and keeping them on the portfolio. And we can also use the back end facilities there as distribution networks to service our own businesses, right? And so we've got like a philanthropic effort part to it, keeps our costs low. It's not, but in my mind, if we buy places with that are fairly cheap, low mortgages, and we just get in socialish businesses or startup that just cover the rent. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And now we give them 40 to 60% of the space, and we keep 40 for ourselves.
Yeah.
If we can keep churning that out to the point where we have 10 of those, that 40% of it's ours, and they're paying the mortgage and their assets on the business, great. And I want to do that at pace.
Yeah.
And so I guess we need some revenue sources that are going to start to help that. I was looking at, like, could we buy up a couple, you know, some businesses that have already got revenue going, and, you know, and change a few things. I don't want Clip It or Big Daddy Kush to be like the immediate revenue source, because I don't want to have to lean on it and rush it, you know, to the point where we're just selling some shit to try and get some cash in.
Yeah.
I feel like that's got some bigger potential in itself and needs the... I want patterns and trademarks and, you know, designs and...
Clip It and things like that. That's going to be... Think of like your vape shop, and it's on the counter in the vape shop. Things like that.
Yeah. I want Clip It to... Clip It... Big Daddy Kush is the bigger project name, right?
Yeah.
That, to me, has real potential and requires a proper business plan, proper designs for a proper product range, market, you know, whole 9 yards on its own. However long that's going to take me to figure that out, to execute it, to get the funds to move forward, and I need to do that in its own circle. And then outside of that, I need to look at other ways of trying and failing to start bringing in money.
Yeah.
Right. So you are... I think one of the target markets to try this with is going to be young women, right, who buy shit online. You're a young woman that buys shit online.
Yep.
What should we be selling?
Okay. At the moment, there's a massive thing for vintage clothes.
Okay.
Go on eBay, go through the charity shops, go on Facebook Marketplace, take those things and resell them. Wash them, iron them. Tell you what I'll get you to do. I'm going to get you to watch a series called Girl Boss. It's on Netflix.
Watched it twice.
Oh, okay. Then you know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly
then.
what you mean.
There you go.
I do. I'm completely with the vibe. Completely love that. My apprehensions are that I wouldn't have the right style, and I'm not in a position to be able to facilitate that with ease.
Okay.
You know, that's something that you know.
I'm just thinking that takes a which website?
What I mean by that is, right now, I already have 2 bags and a backpack.
Yeah.
If I have another bag full of vintage clothes, I have to lug around, and then 2, and then 3.
Yeah.
From where I'm at right now, this second, that might be something, if I'm settled and I've got a room or, you know, the van or whatever, that I could be like, right, I can vibe this, but right now that feels like a lot of moving pieces. I sort of want something that I can buy online and resell. You know what I mean? Just be the middleman.
Yeah.
Like Shopify, I don't even touch it.
Can buy some bits and bobs from CEX.
No, I mean like stuff I could buy in bulk from China or from another website and just sell without even touching it.
Geek bars.
Geek bars.
Geek bars and elf bars.
But like scrunchies or hair ties, or like what do girls constantly need or use?
Hair ties.
Hair ties.
Hair ties, hair grips, scrunchies. Yeah, shit like that.
Could we start a hair tie brand?
Yeah.
Photoshop it, find them on eBay or Alibaba or whatever, you know,
Mhm.
and resell them on.
Mhm.
And that one's worth a
That was not a bad idea.
hair ties.
Things you can do quickly on the cheap.
Low risk hair ties are cheap. I can buy a bunch if they don't sell. I didn't spend you know. That's,
200 quid on them.
yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah. Thing to do actually is to go onto the business side of TikTok. Look through the businesses that are small businesses, and there's probably a couple on my following that I'm following on my TikTok account. And I can't tell you any of them off the top of my head, but we went through like my following list on TikTok. We find the small businesses. Let's have a look, see what they're selling, what their outlet is, what website do they use,
How are they set up? Yeah.
Yeah.
How many followers? What hashtags? You know,
Yeah.
and then we can just create accounts and replicate that process. And I'll edit like they do and copy a little bit.
Yeah.
I also thought about whether it was with the hair ties or whatever, like using other social media, other people to promote, like pay. People like, hey, look, wear my scrunchie. Post a post. Get some people through. Start to build a brand.
Hey, when girls go on OnlyFans and go down on a guy, look, it's a BB, it's a triple B hair tie. I'm used to pull my hair back.
Fucking love that. Yes, OnlyFans girls.
It's a great hair tie to use when you're giving your husband or your partner, whatever, a BJ. They like to pull your hair back. I see the cogs turning in your head. That would work, right?
Sex toys, Gina. Restraints.
Restraints.
We rebrand restraints. We find suppliers or something like Alibaba, someone that will do just be like BB, whatever little acronym we decide for the branding, right? The Brady Group, TBG, restraints, and it's just got the TBG on it. It's still in the packaging, and we don't see it. And we send them to OnlyFans girls. We pay them whatever, and get a percentage of the ones they refer, right?
We don't. No. We don't have to
Pay them. We just say you get a percentage. We'll send you a sample.
Yeah.
Use it on camera.
Yeah.
You get we'll make it
and
big
give
at
us
the
your
front.
honest reviews.
Yeah, give it. Yeah, we'll find ones that are decent.
Yeah.
And we'll get something for.
That's what I mean. We need ones that are a decent quality product,
Yeah,
But
and we'll be straight with them. Be like, look, we're starting out.
Pay them. They can give us anything like that. It's cheap. It's easy.
We could even be like, look, you keep half. Keep half of what we make.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-50 partnership. And just go across the board.
Yeah. Easy.
Okay, question. Right. The brand.
Yeah.
What's my brand? What brand are we starting with? Because we have JTB Consultancy, the business. That's the business name, right? That doesn't have to be the brand or anything. We can run everything through that at the moment, but that is not. That's just on paper.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I've been doing the personal TikTok, which I can stop soon and create one for the business, a business account. But for everything, what should we? What should we be?
What shall we be? As we say, Big Daddy Kush and Clip It are going to take a little bit more financial investment at the moment. So.
Yeah, in my mind, Big Daddy Kush is, and you should Clip It, a one legal and brand. The Brady Group will be our ultimate umbrella brand once we get Big Baller, but that's going to stay on the shelf. So we need that middle public, sort of all-encompassing thing that I start myself through, and like Jamal Brady's one way, but then obviously I want to be able to do sex toys and and sell other products but keep everything cohesive. I want there to be.
We spoke about this before. We spoke about our it's like Fab, but it's the full, it's a full social site with the shop, with members, with subscriptions and everything like that.
Kinked in, yeah. Like that as well. Needs to be its own.
But would Kinkton be that difficult to start?
We could do the Kinkton brand for the sex toys. We could try and get the.
Yeah.
coverage for, you know, whatever trade. I need to look into the specifics with
Yeah.
trademarking and stuff like that for Kinked. That we could definitely do.
That would work.
Interesting. If Kinked's available, or whatever what alternative if we can't get Kinked, and then use that for the sex toys. Run the sex toys, and we can do the hair ties and stuff.
I mean, the hair ties can be part of it because let's face it.
Do you like that? Like just doing
like the
sex
hair
ties?
It's not gonna. Oh my god! I have a great idea. It can have hair ties, but it can have different things. It can be, fuck me, punish me, bratty, princess, kitten.
Yes.
Little. Come inside. Make me. Things like that.
I like that. We could also. I'm trying to think of how this would work, but I want something that works as a hair tie and a restraint. Like imagine, you know, like a long piece of string, but the ends are actual proper magnets. You know what I mean, or something. So you could just wrap your hair with it.
Yeah.
But later on, you can take it out, proper tie your hand with it, and lock it in, and like no one's gonna. Do you know what I mean, like that sort of stuff.
Okay, you know, like you get like these braided.
Paracord.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like a leathery kind of like softer material, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. You know what I mean? It's just sort of
That braided
it's
kind
hipster
of,
chic, but it's also, you know, really strong at the same time.
And if I really wanted to, say for let's call it.
And on the inside, it's got embossed like "fuck me,"
Yeah.
"fuck me, daddy," or something like that. You know, something like, or you know, Kinked in. You know, something that's like a little bit.
I mean, if you think about it, it can also kind of work as a day collar at the end of the day. We've seen paracord day collars.
We have seen paracord day collars. I like that. Well, okay, here's a question for you. Because, right, then the context of where this question comes from, I think that I'm a fairly good dom, because I come from a place of trying to understand and learn my subs and build something around them. Right, I don't mean that in like a humble brag way, but that's always how I've approached it, and I'm always trying to be kind, reasonable, and honest.
Yeah.
And start from there, right? But because of that, and where the satisfactions that I get from my sub are not based around the small eccentricities of how the dynamic's built and the some behaviour, and sure I enjoy, but you get me, you know, like the quirks, I let them build that quite independently. So I've been for quite a wide variety of different styles and stuff, but I haven't ever really dove into other than what I like, what a sub would want or enjoy. So from your perspective, in terms of whether it's bracelets or necklaces or, you know, collars or tags or little tickets, what tokens, what do you think would be good things for us to turn our heads to?
I mean, put it this way, as we all know, every sub loves a collar.
Every sub loves a collar.
Every sub loves a collar, and if you're a true sub and you understand the point of a collar, it is the most important thing. It is the most special thing. And I can attest to that as someone who likes it and considers it to be an extremely important part of a dynamic. Sorry. I don't give a shit.
You don't give a fuck.
But
I don't either, to be fair. Fuck it.
But what is nice for a sub? Obviously, me as a sub, I like to be there for my dom. I like to take care of their needs and what they want. And what is nice for a sub is that little physical thing, whether it's a little whether it is a collar or it is a paracord bracelet that does say "fuck me" stitched on the inside, or you're mine or something along those lines. Also, like a little like token, like a little metal token, for example, like much bigger than this.
I have a
size
good
like
girl one inside. I'll show you it when I get my stuff out. Right? Yeah, I completely know what you're on about.
You know, that little like token thing that you can just give out. It's that little bit of subs. Obviously, if you want to, it's that little bit of praise.
That little bit of affirmation, that little bit of comfort, that little bit of security.
It's not verbal. It's a physical thing that they can hold on to.
I completely get you. Right, building on that, what do you think of doing? Right, first off, obviously collars as their own line, right? Of, you know, we do a small collar line, but we do a phased out or tiered system, tiered level variety of products that can work on a what's the word I'm looking for? discrete level, you know, they blend in, but B, also concurrently work on a building up the relationship or learning to be a sub-level. So it's bracelets, hair ties, little different tokens, then small collars, big you know, like it can ease up in a way that sort of, they both go concurrent.
Yeah.
You know, and then we can have a little variety. One of them says like fuck me, or like, or daddy's princess, you know, like step 1, step 2. We could do a step 1, 2, 3, 4 line, right?
Yeah.
And it's embossed on the underside of all of them. And then outside of that we do the, you know, the
like
fuck me daddy.
number 1 could be that little 2p token, whatever it is. You know, number 2 could actually be the hair tie because it's something that you wear all day. No,
number 2, right? Number 1 is the token that she gets and she can hold on to, right? Number 2 is a similar token or something symbol that goes on a keychain, right? So something that she carries on her as well. Number 3 is then the hair tie, because it's something that you use to tie her up that is on her.
Yeah.
And then number 4 is the bracelet, because that is just for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have an additional time to that, because some people, they are going to want a day collar and a play collar.
Yeah.
And we have 2 separate lines for that. We have discrete daytime collars, you know, the ones you can get that are, they have like the permanent locking ones, some of them are just straight up necklaces, whatever, you know, we can have a different variety, for example.
Sure.
And then we have the ones that are the
What about
play
rings?
collars. Rings could work, but rings would be good for Dom.
Matching, like ring sets.
Yeah, ring sets.
Yeah, ring sets.
Yeah.
We don't do them individually, we do a ring set. That's step 5. Step 5 is ring set and collar.
Yeah. But you buy that separately so you have step 1, 2, 3.
5 is collar, 6 is ring set.
Yeah. But they can be sold in a separate bundle.
Yes, for sure. You can get a collar and a ring set if you just wanted to come to the site and get those as sort of like you're already an established set. You know, but the steps would be
let's say, you know, it's £5 for the token, it's another 7, you know, 10 quid or whatever for the keychain, £15 for the scrunchie, and then £20 for the bracelet. How much does that come up to?
I was half listening.
So
1 second.
We're just saying increments of 5, so 5, 10, 15.
Just going to get a spreadsheet and write them out at the same time. So you said we've got token.
Yep.
Keychain. Scrunchie / hair tie.
Yeah. I'd always go for a scrunchie.
I liked the hair tie because it would be the lever that you can use as a lock. Remember, it's about the restraint as well. The scrunchie we can sell as well that says "fuck me."
Yeah.
And that'll be on the same tier, like as products. I think we should sell the scrunchies and just regular hair ties.
Yeah.
But I think we should also sell one that's the lever, long one with the lock and with different locking mechanisms, collar and then ring set. So I think. I think that because there's margin in it, right? Because if you think we're not setting up a store, no. I don't want to mug people off. This isn't about us making crazy profit. We're going to make these all ourselves. I'll go to India and we'll source the shit for these. So,
but separately in a bundle, you can have all of those. Let's say, for example, we were going for the, you know,
let's just do so we can sum it up. 10, 10. $35,
right? You get that for 30. You get all of those things for 30 in a bundle. If not, you can buy them all separately at those prices.
Exactly. Or if it was the 20 and 20, you could just up the collar as you want, right? And then you've got restraints. Right, what should we do on the restraint to start off? So should we do? Right, I think we should do. What is it? What's the ring and 4?
The hog tie.
Yes, ring of some sort. The 4 thingies. You can unclip them. Thank you. I'm struggling for the word. Hog tie. That's also why I keep you around, you my little kinky encyclopedia.
You little kinky fucker.
I like. I'm going to call them shibari ropes. They're not, but like handcuffs that are rope.
Yeah. Rope cuffs. We'll just call them rope cuffs.
Shabri. Fucking, I'm so.
Silk cuffs.
Rope Silk.
Mhm.
Cuffs.
Yep.
Blindfolds.
Mhm.
Fods.
Folds.
Blindfolds. Gogs.
Gogs. Leather cuffs.
Ooh.
Heavy duty ones. Spreader bars. Yeah.
Oh,
The thigh cuffs.
1 second. You'll love this if I haven't shown you. Oh, we're not connected to the Wi-Fi. Right. There is a, I think I've shown you this before on my Etsy, right? It's made of metal poles. And she's bent over like that, like really
It's the
arched
circle,
over,
isn't it?
like that. No, not the circle.
not the circle.
There is the circle, and we do
fucking
want to
love
do
that.
the circle.
Yeah, we found that circle together and we were like, holy shit, that's a genius
It's
idea.
the other one next to the circle where she's actually on all fours,
Yes,
bent
yes,
over
yes,
and
yes.
locked in.
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
I want to do that in bamboo.
Yes.
So it's collapsible and lighter and can be.
Like tent poles.
Yes. Oh, that's what we'll call it for now. Project tent poles. Bamboo tent poles. Tent poles. You will remember what that means,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Kinkton.
Kinkton.
Interesting.
Mhm.
We will promote through OnlyFans and Reddit girls.
Yeah.
Sell online.
Mhm.
Produce in India.
Yeah.
Source directly and film.
Yeah.
And I'll go out and
Mhm.
actually fucking meet the people and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need you to zone back in.
Yep.
There are products that we need phase one of the products that I go and source directly to be products that that the quality and use cannot be subjective.
No.
It has to be something that we all use across the board the same. So gags are out. Do you get me? Like,
Everybody likes a different gag.
yeah, collars even at first I think are out. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't be out there for neck size and different, I think that's something you need to be involved in. We
Yeah.
need to do designs ourselves really in depth, maybe even hire artists and like,
It's like gags and stuff like that. I've made it very clear, never buy a plastic gag.
no. I know, never buy a plastic gag. I want the gags to be great and I want the collars to be of such a quality that they are of irrepute. I don't even mind if we sell the collars at break even. I'd rather sell a £10 collar that costs us £10.50. You know, and it's just like brilliant than sell one that costs us £6. So I want that to be something that we take a lot of time in and that we launch that very focused. You
and
know,
the thing, and with all due respect, having a dom trying to pick a collar for a sub doesn't necessarily.
that's
work.
not going to be the
Don't
way.
get me wrong. It'd be lovely for a dom to pick out, the collar for their sub. And
But he picks it from a list on Etsy that was made by subs, so it's not the same thing. That's it. I don't want that. I'm not big-headed enough to think that I could be involved in that. I want to have an input in the thing, but I don't want to be the person that's driving the design and the input there. So I feel like, in terms of so we'll do. This is how we'll organise this. Phase 1, phase 2. Oh, that's phase 3. You cheeky bastard. We'll do that. So this looks nice. Tokens that I can do. Keychains we can do.
Yep.
Scrunchies and hair ties. rings I'll leave, because I feel like we need to build the brand and the
Yeah.
guidance behind that. We can't just be popping out for that. They need to be like, oh, what are Kink doing now?
And this
you
is
know?
the thing, is that we would really need to research the rings, because when I've gone on Etsy, I don't know about you, I've never really seen dom and sub rings.
No, nor have I. And I that is going to be something we have to set as a trend.
Yeah.
At the point where me and you have actually learned how to market, how to sell. We've got a fan base, we've got money behind us, and we go and we do an actual marketing campaign, an education campaign, and we bring people in slowly.
Yeah.
And it also needs to be at a point where when we start selling the rings, we don't immediately need to actually sell them or make money on them.
No.
We can just sit and hold the stock, right?
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be like, right, we've done this and we're doing it and we've committed to it. But it doesn't matter if it takes even a couple of years for this to get traction. We're in no rush. So that needs to be like a phase 3 or 4 thing, like once we've got it. And once we're established, right? Because I want to sell good rings at good prices, anywhere from cheap but up to like not crazy expensive, but like nice rings, man.
As me and you both know, Etsy goes from being £5 to £500.
Yeah, there's a sharp dip.
And there are genuinely certain things that are not going to be obtainable for a lower income couple.
No.
And things like that. Certain people are going to be able to afford the higher spectrum things. Obviously, me and you have looked at them and be like, oh, we'd fucking love that.
100%.
But £500 for a spanking bench doesn't really exactly get you going a lot.
Exactly,
You know?
it doesn't really work. But can we do one that's 100, 150?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we make that happen?
Yeah.
Like, what? Why not 75?
Paddles. Why did we not
You know,
think about
paddles.
paddles? You know, and it's all of those sorts of things where we need to make it accessible for every possible dynamic, which is, you know, the ones where they do have more money.
Making it accessible for every possible dynamic.
Yeah.
I think you just wrote our mission statement. It's like The Apprentice. Year 4.
Yeah.
In Lord Sugar's house.
Yeah.
I completely love that. No, you're completely right, and I think it's something that is really important to me that we. And that's why going to India and doing it myself, and actually seeing who's making it, finding the best deals, doing it with good material, but at the best price that we can find, and documenting it and being open about our margins and stuff like that, and being like, we're not trying to make a fortune here, we're just trying to pay our costs and make a fair bit on it, and being able to do that and facilitate everybody having access to the products, because they don't have to be made of the best leather. You know, I can go and we can get materials for these that work, that are good, that are solid, right? Especially for like, you know, the tokens, the keychains, stuff like that. That these are all things that are relatively inexpensive to make anyway, so we can sell them. It's only when it really gets to like the more in-depth equipment, but by that time we'll have money in, we'll put money into R&D, and we can make things in bulk and, you know, save on the costs.
The thing is as well, making it accessible with everybody. You and me both know there's a difference between somebody says that they're kinky and when they actually are kinky. And it's like this making it accessible for everybody will bring those kind of dynamics a bit more to the surface, a little bit more, where they are a little bit more socially recognised and acceptable.
Yes.
Because me and you both know from personal experience that those sorts of things aren't accepted in society.
No, we're still on the fringe. It's acceptable to proclaim to be kinky. It's still not acceptable to actually be kinky.
In front of everybody else.
To talk about it, to approach it in casual dating conversations. You know what I mean?
I know if I talk about it to my friends, and it now becomes a running joke about the things that I've tried and the things that I've experienced, and you know, and they come to me like, oh yeah, oh god, you must have done that ages ago, or what does this do, and what does this do, and it's like instantly you don't understand. You know, from a lot of my friends, they come from a very much more vanilla, basic sex life.
Yeah.
And so when I explain things about me, they look totally and utterly horrified.
Deers in the headlights, right?
Yeah. And it's when it's like, oh, I like to be, they're like, oh yeah, I like to be bitten and things like that. No. I want bites from my boobs down to my thighs. Like, that's what I mean. They're like, what I want to be black and blue all over, but underneath a dress you wouldn't know.
Yeah, right. I have the same thing when I try and describe to some of my friends, like, oh, roughing a girl up. Like,
Yeah.
I've had a few times I've said that in passing. Again, I'm similar to you. I'm the running joke, the sort of laughing, and it's done trivially and in passing. But there's been a few times where one of my mates' partners has been like, oh, what do you mean rough a girl up, Jamal? I like to be, Tom will tie me down every now and then, something like that, or spank me. I'm like, no, no, Jasmine, you don't understand.
Yeah.
When I say rough a girl up, I mean I want her actually crying, and not because she's putting it on, but because she's in pain.
Yeah.
But she's also smiling and asking for more. Do you know what I mean? And the look that I get then, right? And don't, fortunately, at least in the times where I have opened up, it's been at least, first off, I'm open and comfortable with who I am, but I'm fortunate enough that the people that I've been sharing it with know me as me and who I am, the kind, loving Jamal.
Yeah.
So when I say a statement like that, they understand that is within the confines of a caring, consensual situation, relationship, or dynamic, whatever that may be, and that is. They don't look at me with the complete horror and disgust of, oh, you're a psychopath, because they're like, right, okay, that's just how Jamal gets off. Fine. I'm fortunate and privileged enough that I have people who look at me that way. I've also come across people that don't, right? That look at me, if I talk about that, as though I literally am a rapist or an abuser, or a criminal, and they look at me with disgust.
I have people that look at me and think that I'm psychopathic, like literally psychopathic, like I need to be, and like I enjoy self-harming and things like that, because I like to be slapped, and I like to be spanked, and I like to be choked, and all of those sorts of things. And instantly you'll think to yourself, why do you like to be hurt? No. I'm not asking to be hurt. I'm not asking to be physically abused. That's not what I'm asking.
No, it's different.
It's a different kind of...
Right. Well, because I think it's partly the media, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing that we've had such a positive shift and spotlight put on abuse and assault, and both sides, and sexual and otherwise, right? But the term, abuse has now become synonymous with, and domestic assault has now become synonymous with getting physical with a girl, right? And they're seen as one blended thing. Oh, you like a girl to spank you, you'd like a guy to spank you or hit you. Oh, then you must you want to be abused, right? You want him to punch you out of the blue. So, no, it's different, and it's different. I feel like we're at the point where we don't need to explain that anymore. I don't feel the need to rationalise that to people, but I'm still aware that I'm on the somewhat fringe of society. People our age are a little bit more chill. What I have noticed is I do litmus tests, right? When I meet girls on Hinge or Tinder or Bumble, I, up until very recently, I didn't have anything in my profile that talked about being, kinky, really, up until, a month ago. So for all of my life, I didn't have it there. And I wouldn't bring it up with the girl until we were out of the dating app, into chatting, and what at the point of being on, like, voice or audio, video calls, right? And then I would, like, test the waters. But every now and then, I would drop it in a message. You know what I mean? Like, I'd bring it up early. And for many years, the responses were horrific, right? From blocking to awful, vindictive things. But lately, there's been more of an acceptance to it. Sometimes I find reciprocal kinky fellows. Other times, like you saw the message from the girl the other day that was just like, hey, I'm not submissive, but thanks for the offer. I hope you enjoy your time.
But I had a problem with that, though, because she matched you and it was clearly in your bio, and that's a different story.
That part of it was that is a little different story. She did feel like she just wanted the validation, but nevertheless, the point being is that I'm not being dragged through the streets on the dating apps anymore. But I have, that is with younger people and people who are in a sphere and a world where it is more at least aware. But out there in the real world, this is the thing that I've sort of that's always held me back from being more open online. Because I'm like, I wonder what people in my work sphere think. I've worked in jobs and in companies that are fairly corporate and do fairly well, and I don't know if all of my colleagues in the past or the present would necessarily support or understand some of my personal sexual preferences. And it's only been in the last 2-3 months I've put my face up on Fab, up on Kink. I'm sending it out on Reddit sometimes. Like I'm being quite and my Instagram's public, and I'm putting that there. I did get blackmailed by that girl I told you about earlier on in the year. Attempted blackmail. I didn't let her go through with it. I was like, fuck it. But it's taken a long time, and I still wonder if there will be, negative ramifications to potential work down the line through that, or through acts of speaking openly through the podcast and other means about this.
Yeah. I mean, so because I use a test when I'm talking to guys on Tinder, especially more Tinder, to be honest, and especially if the guy's kind of said he's in for a one night stand kind of thing. Okay, that's absolutely fine. We'll go and have some drinks. We'll go and have some dinner somewhere. Then we'll go back to yours. We'll just do whatever. But if a guy ever uses the term with me, what would you do if you were here right now? No, right. What would you do to me if I was there right now?
Exactly.
I'm not. If you tell me.
The correct way to approach that is, I'd be like, sweetheart, I really can't get you off my mind. Can't stop thinking about what I want to do to you if you were here right now. Leaves that open.
That's
like,
a great test.
Right? 100%. That's what I say, right? You don't say, what would I... That's some weak ass shit. That is some beta male shit. Some low individual shit for the Andrew Tate lovers out there in the universe. Big whoop. Big whoop. If the FBI agents listening to this, then big love. Bet, man. Bet. Wagwan.
But it's that thing though, isn't it? It's like, I feel like me and you, as kinky people, we're very educated.
For sure.
When you first met me, you were surprised at my level of kinkification.
Oh, I was very, very overcome with your knowledge. I think it's safe to say.
I was the little dark horse in there.
You were the dark horse, and I think, look, my sum up of, you can attest, I've been around the block a few times in the kink spheres, right? I'm fairly sort of, I have my finger on the pulse, and there is a level of educated, intelligent women out there that play in the space, but more often than not, it has become it's become more difficult to differentiate them from girls who are just pretending and emulating behaviour of women that are educated and switched on and don't actually know what they're doing. It used to be easier to discern them, but they've gotten better at, their profiles, blending in a little bit better and having some response and some base level knowledge. But there seemed to be a large swath of girls and guys, on the other side. I'm not trying to step back from that.
Remember, I had that Tinder match yesterday, and the third message that he sent me was, "You will address me as master."
Oh my god, that was oh my god.
Within like 2 seconds,
that was fucking horrible. Yeah, he was straight. What was his name? Like
Devontae.
Devontae.
But the thing is, though, is that remember we were reading through his bio. We were like, oh, he actually, and he had one little phrase in there, one of my kinks, which you don't see very often.
DGLG.
You don't
DGLG.
see it very often because a lot of people don't understand it.
Shout out r/DGLG personals. Amazing page.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. But you don't see it often enough.
No.
That's something that we should also look into. DGLG, swag and education.
Yeah, because people don't understand it. People don't understand what it means, what the basis is of it, and things like that. And it's really difficult to get people to understand it. It's so fucking difficult because instantly they go, oh no, that person's a pedophile. No, you're sexualising children. No, I'm not. You're not. It's a because at the end of the day, you could regress to a 17-year-old. I could be a 23-year-old person and regress to my 17-year-old self.
And I feel like this is the thing I think we can do around education, because there is a big difference between I'd like to separate the two intentions and actions of engaging in DGOG of the guy and the girl, right? Let's park the girl for a moment, because I think personally anything you want to do in your mind and in your space is a-okay with me, so you don't need to worry about the child aspect, right? That's you consenting to going back there. But from the guy side, there is a difference between a guy who wants to go around and do sporadic and very non-lasting DGOG play with women, and the guy that's doing it in as an add-on to a dynamic
Yeah.
or an ongoing situationship. Even I'm not saying it has to be,
Mm-hmm.
long term,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there is a difference between, for example, if me and you were still seeing each other sexually
Mm-hmm.
consistently, and you were like, right, I want to dive into that. That's different than if I just slid into your fabs and been like, I want you to go back to being 7 for a night for me, right? And I think that that's where people's concern is, and rightly should be.
Yeah.
But the onerous then is on the woman to let those guys out, as opposed to creating this blanket hate for the entire space, and people being able to talk about it and be open about it.
Because obviously when I first met, I sent you a list of my kinks. I sent you, there's that big long list.
Oh yes, the
sticks
copy
in my
pasta.
brain.
Oh yes, the kinky copy pasta. We know it well.
We know these techniques very well. And there was a couple of...
Got to have those Google Keeps, man. You got to keep things on file. You can't be manufacturing off the bat.
Oh mate, if I had to type that list out every single day, could you imagine how long that would take me? That's a long list.
You've seen my messages. You think I have the time to scribe out to each girl that I'm trying to fuck?
But like, I've got a long list of kinks. There's a lot in there to get.
100%. I actually did one that was a list of date options that I thought was good. It's like 7.
I love that.
It was like, all right, my lady, I'm interested. Pick one of these and we'll do it. And then I just paste that to bitches.
Yeah. But it's like, it's one of those. It's like
bitches said with love and reference.
and I remember you came back to me with questions on certain ones and why I enjoyed it, why was it on the list? How would I experience it? Me and you would bond. We bonded over
green flag signs of a good dom right there.
Yeah. We bonded over things, but one of the ones that, although you knew about it and I think you understood it, it's something you had never experienced, which was DDLG.
Yeah.
And when we started talking about it, it was something that we probably would have incorporated into the dynamic.
For sure.
At a later stage.
It's something that the only sort of experience I'd had of anything in that realm was a couple of girls who would go very childish, but not completely in that space, and completely into a dynamic or scene, and then a couple of times using that sort of voice and tone during sex, but not fully in that, in that sphere. But it's definitely something that I think there are a lot of elements, specifically of DGLG as well as pet play, that although there is a lot of sexual enjoyment and fulfillment to be had there, there is also a lot of non-sexual enjoyment, joy and fulfillment to be found for both parties, exploring those sort of scenes. And they can even be non-sexual scenes entirely, and I think that's something that would be nice to be able to provide education as well as equipment or scene setting, and being able to encourage people in at those low entry barriers. For people that don't have the means to the couples that don't have the means to be spending a crazy amount to do things they already know they want to do, and as well as for people to be able to, as either individuals or as a unit, be able to try something one off, right? You meet something it's a friend with benefit thing. You guys are chatting. You go, oh, let's get a token, or a rope set. It's only a £5, and it's only a £10, not like, we can chip in, right? Let's spice it up in our friendship, or I'll keep that and use it up. Do you know what I mean? There's a little bit more. Oh, we should give discounts to like Fab, Kinked-In, and whatnot membership discounts for kinky friends, Fab.
It's funny though, because it's like, this is the other thing though, it's like there are people that are, DDLG is their whole dynamic from start to finish, and that is completely utterly okay. And then you have ones where it is part of the role play, and other times it can just be a small part of the dynamic. You can have different vibes depending on what you're into, but there are people that
can be part of the rotation,
that are genuinely dedicated to it, and one thing that always made me laugh, I was on Fab the other day, and I got chatting to this older guy, started talking and things like that, went through things that I'm into, and one of them on there, because sometimes there are those little occasions where I take out DDLG, I take out CNC, I take out the B word and things like that. I take out all of those kinds of things, because that can sometimes scare people a mile off, especially for a girl to put it in their bio. It can really freak a guy out. But I put in the DDLG, and he was like, so what age do you regress to? And do you do it all the time? When do you do this? Do you do it as soon as you get home from work? And all of those sorts of things. And when I said to him sort of like the age that I probably tend to regress to, and he was like, oh, well, I've had girls that only regress to sort of like 14, 15. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a problem. But I feel like now you're judging me for the way that I go back.
Yeah, it's not. You didn't You didn't get his. That's not fair. He shouldn't be giving you that level of judgment.
I got a really bad vibe from him based on the fact that he was like, oh, so when are you going to be little for me? You know. At what time?
You must address me as master from this point forward. Message 3. Devontae, shameful, mate, shameful. You've got enough of another Devontae.
Devontae, I hope if you're listening to this, darling, okay, get a new tactic, all right, you know, and get a job, sweetheart, all right, it's not that difficult.
Devontae, I fucked her just after that and she didn't address me as master or sir, man. You're going about things the wrong way, my friend, okay? You know, I appreciate your effort, your honesty, and that you're comfortable with yourself, but the vibe is not getting the good puss. That's what I'm going to say, man.
And this is good puss.
Sublime.
A little tight, but it's good.
Best puss Bedford has to offer.
Oh, thank you.
Jamal's first TripAdvisor review.
No. Dick Advisor review.
Dick Advisor, patent and trademark pending.
But no, he really like fucked me off. I was really pissed off after that.
I can imagine, I would have been.
Because I think you'll find I do not throw the sir, the daddy, or the master around for anybody.
No, nor should you. And that's something. Okay, right. That's something from my side that angers me. I wouldn't. Why would you? I don't want a girl that's rocking up and calling me daddy or master or sir after, 4 messages or even a day or 2 in. I feel like that behaviour is something that needs to be earned and something that needs to be genuine and sincere. Do you know what I mean?
That me and you both consented to, and me and you actually asked each other what we liked to be called.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
We picked the ones we liked.
And we decided at a point, we were like, okay, well, we're here, we're going to start doing that. Brilliant. This is how you're going to address me. This is when, do you know what I mean? And we ran through that sort of stuff.
I went through things that I like, and we just went.
You know what it is the equivalent to? It is the equivalent, and I'm not saying I hold this belief that I'm about to describe, but it's the equivalent to when a guy's like, oh, I don't like a girl who puts out too quickly on a date or in the first couple of days. Again, I'm not saying I agree with that, but that mentality of it means that she's been doing it with loads of other guys and that she's easy, right? Mm-hmm. I take that mentality towards a girl who's putting out the daddies and the sirs. You know what I mean? Like I'm yours, right? I'm yours straight off the bat. I feel like it to me it is a red flag that she does not understand what I am looking for and the level to which the lifestyle and kink and makes me feel it's part of who I am, my core values. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like no. I'm not yours after one day, because if you're not mine after one day. If you were mine, you'd be here, and I'd be able to do whatever I want to you, whenever I want to you, in ways that I don't think you've ever experienced or been able to comprehend from what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? So don't be throwing that around. You know, it's the same way as like someone being like going into East London and like, yeah, I'm hard. Do you know what I mean? It's like, motherfucker, you like me being like I'm hard. It's like, motherfucker, you don't even know what you're stepping into. You know what I mean? It's that same way.
I mean, sorry to keep going back to our previous relationship, but I think that
what can I say? I'm a heavy hitter. I leave an impression, imprinting like Jacob.
Left an impression on you too.
Imprinting like Jacob, one might say.
Hey,
to your dismay.
It's one of those things. If this ever goes out, I mean, we probably will do an intro in terms of how our friendship actually became to be so good. But I think when me and you first started talking, it was very much we were impressed with each other's knowledge and how we went about vetting each other. Because me and you vetted the shit
we
out of
did.
each other.
For a bit of background there, I think we probably spent a good week having 3, 4, 5 paragraph long message conversations consistently through the day.
And then to audio calls.
And to be fair, to be clear, they weren't all sexual. They did encompass everything. We did like a proper FBI background Secret Service check.
We talked about everything. We talked about our jobs. We talked about
our values.
We talked about our values, our family,
where we wanted to go in the world and the life, and our ambitions.
We had a really in-depth conversation about our lives, and then also what me and you both look for in our dynamics.
100%, and I think it was really important that we did that and we took the time to do that. And then, as you said, it went to voice notes and then calls and staggered onto their audio, video calls, and then to meetings. So I feel like that's something that has been lost. And granted, I think obviously there was extra time for us to do that because of the distance.
Yeah.
However, I don't think even if I was down the road, that would have changed the timeline much. We were both intent on granted we would have seen each other sooner, but we would have still done the vetting process.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
In
mean,
the same
I think,
cycle.
What was it? It was 2.5 weeks
2.5 weeks.
before we saw it. Before we
Which
met.
I don't think would have been any sooner if we had the, regardless of where I was, right? You know, and then they're not being the distance, Jersey to Bedford for the background there.
But the thing was, let's face it, I mean, in terms of us becoming an actual dom and sub, in terms of an actual dynamic that we had, I would say we moved quite quickly. But because we crossed the T's and dotted the I's before we even got there wasn't so much of an issue with going there.
100%.
I dropped you off at the airport, we had that conversation, that was it.
Yeah.
Simple.
It was done, exactly. We were on the same page. We were clear and open and honest all the way through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that allowed us to then come back and build the friendship that we have now. And I think that's something that we did it the right way, right?
Yeah.
You know, like we've always smashed that.
You know, it didn't work out in the end, but I think in terms of, especially now, our communication was great and we were in a dynamic, but our communication is even better now.
100%. I think that's partly because we know each other better and partly because we've both grown since then, especially you in terms of being honest about how you feel without feeling self-conscious about it. Not that that was ever a problem. I understood it, but you holding back and not being honest.
Well, this was the thing. I held back on it. I projected my... I didn't want to project my bad energy onto you, but that's exactly what I did. And although I'm extremely open when it comes to positive communication, in terms of the negative sides of it, in terms of the negative ways that I'm feeling, I struggled with that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, I didn't feel particularly great that morning. You kept asking me, I kept saying, no, I'm fine, don't want to talk about it. And then I just absolutely broke in the car because I realised exactly what I was doing, and that was exactly what I would hate for someone to do to me, you know. But what we have allowed ourselves...
Cammy's home. Plot twist. We can see the shadow moving in the bathroom. For a little bit of background, we've been at an Airbnb in Edinburgh now for what, 2 nights?
Yeah.
2 nights now. We got in Saturday. It's Monday. I'm staying here for 6 weeks. Gina's here through to Wednesday, and we still haven't seen Cammy. Nice guy from the messages and whatnot. He's super super chill, but we haven't seen him yet. He's been around. We've heard voices in his room. We're very interested in meeting him and just getting a gauge of his vibe. Yeah. But he seems like a good man. So the Cammy mystery will continue. But yeah, I mean, even to circle back there, sorry to digress onto the Cammy vibes. Yeah, I mean, even like the way that we handled that, right? For that entire little arc of that morning, we handled it with grace. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't a moment when we were yelling at each other.
No, we never shouted.
Or shouted at each other.
You went off and had a bit of space.
Yeah.
I kind of sat there and calmed myself down. Came back with a cup of coffee for me and a fruit bag.
Yeah. like a G.
To give it some context, guys, at that particular time, we'd spent the whole weekend eating McDonald's because of this one, and I was just getting absolutely sick of 3 plain hamburgers and a regular chips from McDonald's, to the point where Jamal would get a kids meal and make sure the fact that I got the fruit bag out of it.
Yeah.
And a cup of coffee, and we came
and
back.
You say that it was because of me. It was because we were driving around and doing stuff. Like, it wasn't because like me. I was only eating McDonald's. Like I like other food. I wasn't being a picky eater.
It was
just
wrong turn in the Cotswolds where it takes us 2.5 hours to get back.
Yeah, exactly. So like, don't be putting that on me. That's like I love McDonald's. But yes, I did. We came back. We both had a conversation. Dropped me at the airport. Like we kept the chill. We didn't get aggressive. We didn't block each other. Do you know? We didn't have some escalation.
We had that conversation, and you know, I think this was the thing, is that I'd never begged you to stay, did I? When we were having that conversation about us parting ways, not one point did I ever call you, sent you a long paragraph begging you to stay or anything like that. I told you that I would try and change, but I completely appreciated that you didn't want to be put in the position that I put you in.
Completely. I think you didn't do any pick me behaviour. You know, you didn't do any latch on koala. I think on my side, like I remember in the car, even trying to be very clear with me, like, look, I understood exactly why you had acted the way that you acted, empathised with it, understood that it wasn't malicious at me, and like I genuinely, like, I was like, I feel you, you know. But it was like, but outside of you, Gina, that behaviour has too much of a detrimental effect on me, that although I understand where it came from, because neither one of us can guarantee that won't happen again, I can't be in that position where that's how you turn, because that's not good for me, right? Then I made a point of separating that from you, right? You know what I mean? As opposed to just being like, Gina, you know, and I'm like, I can't do that because you as a person. But no.
We never shouted and screamed at each other.
I didn't villainise your behaviour. I want to try and make you feel bad about the way that you were. I
No.
was like, no, I understand and I empathise with that.
Yeah.
And as you were like, I'm going to try and change, as opposed to me being like, you should feel shit. You know, I'm like,
You should feel shit about
shame.
yourself,
You know, like,
you know.
there was both that sort of, we both approached it and
Yeah.
handled it
And you know,
in good ways.
and we talked about a couple of things. Did you want me to send the stuff back that you left at my place, that you left in my case, and you know, did you want the money for the hotel and things like that? We communicated on those two things, and then then that was it. You know,
Yeah.
that was after you landed, and we didn't talk about those things ever again. You know, I archived you. You were in my archive.
Yeah, same. I didn't delete, but I archived.
Yeah.
I was sticking away.
I feel like now we're just giving everyone an insight into how we've become who we are. But you were archived for
Down the rabbit hole, part 1.
for you were in the archive for a month, and it was on a Friday. I went onto my WhatsApp. I hadn't been on my phone all day, and I got that little one notification in my archive left.
Always where you want to be, gents. Curiosity on a Friday.
Curiosity
kills the cats.
You
It
know.
does. She's bubbly. It's about to be the weekend. She's probably got plans. Endorphins are going. She sees the little one and thinks, "Oh, what's that?" When she sees your name, she's angry at first, but she reads it and she's in a giving mood. Anyway, continue.
But this was the thing, though, is that I read your message, and it was very much just it was a "Hey, how are you? I'm just checking in." Oh, the cat's back.
It is indeed.
It was very much, you know, "Hey, how are you? Just checking in," things like that. And I was like, well, I'm not a cunt, you know, and I didn't hold any malice towards you by that point. The malice had dissipated and everything like that. I didn't fucking hate you anymore. Messaged you back, we got into a good flow of conversation. You were like, "Oh, well, I'm coming through London, you know, if you fancy a non-committal meet up for the night," and everything like that. And I'll be honest, lad, we had sex once. It wasn't great, was it?
It wasn't great. It was a bit of a misfire, wasn't it? The whole night was
I think
just.
it was you were tired. I was tired.
We were both tired.
So to give it some context, I've been at work since 7 o'clock in the morning.
And there was some blood, ladies. You know, not in a judgy way or an icky way, but the whole thing just sort of fell apart. We ended up having a really emotional time.
We had a really emotional time. It was like, you know, you'd had a really long day of travelling. I'd had a really long day of being at work. At that point, I was working 2 jobs. I started one at 7, finished at 5, went to the next one for 5:30, didn't finish there till 9, come home, got in the car, you know, had a shower, came to Brentwood to come pick you up.
And I'd come from Edinburgh. I'd been up since 5, did a
Yeah.
full day work, left. It was on June 24th, I think, one of the rail strike days, right? And I had to get down from London to Edinburgh. My train got cancelled because of that lorry. I had to leave earlier, but it still took me the same amount of time to get there.
Yeah.
And I didn't get into London till like 11. Or was it like 9:30, 10? And then by the time I got the tube out to you, it was like 11:15.
Yeah, something like that.
We didn't get to the hotel till like 11:30.
Yeah, and I think me and you, we had sex once. I think, you know, the blood was part of it. To give it some context, lads, I'm very, very tight.
Very, very tight.
Very, very tight. It feels very good, but you need some lube. I need a bit of warming up first, and this one doesn't seem to understand that.
What can I say? I'm a sporadic gentleman with little regard for old engines. I'm an electric man. What can I say? I'm pro Tesla. Foot down and go.
Yeah, we had sex. It didn't work. I went into the bathroom for a little bit, like tidied myself up, and I was a little quiet. And Jamal asked me what was wrong, and I came out with it straight away. What was wrong?
You did indeed.
Which completely surprised you.
I was genuinely taken back. Like, yeah, I asked, and you turned around and you just sort of like, were like, yeah, well,
I feel
you know,
a little insecure now about my body and, you know, the way that it works and things like that. And we talked through it, and you were just like, and when we've been previously spoken on the phone, we were talking about the steps, you know, that obviously both of us had taken. But I think this was the first time that you'd actually seen one of the most important steps that I'd taken.
Yeah, we'd had a couple from me sending that initial message. I think it was like the next week, you know, that I was coming through London. So I think we had a couple of calls, and you talked about the fact you'd been working on yourself, but as you said, not in a lot of detail. So it was the first time I saw you actually communicate about how you felt, and then be able to receive positive communication back about that, and then like have a actual conversation, you know, and it wasn't just you trying to sort of, what's the best way, you know, when sometimes people will be open, but they're only trying to, for themselves, rationalise their behaviour and how they feel, right? It's just to give you the context of why, man, you know, why. It was more you just being like, yeah, this is how I feel. And then we talked through it, and then you started to feel a little bit better, you know?
Yeah.
And I started to feel a little better, and there's this back and forth.
We had a bit of an emotional moment talking about things. We put on a movie.
Wolf of Wall Street, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it?
We sat there with a cup of coffee and some snacks.
Shitty Nef Cafe instant.
Oh,
Letchworth Hotel. They still owe
They
me
still owe you.
£64, Gina. They still right. So okay, pause about there for a moment. The next morning we wake up and I've got a notification from Booking.com that I didn't show up to the hotel while I'm in the bed next to Gina, and that they've charged me £64.
Yeah.
Right, I paid the night before when I got there on my Amex. I go out. They're like, "We're sorry, sir." They refund me. I'm like, all good. I did have a bit of a shitty attendant, but I didn't hold that against the
What was her
hotel.
name, Lily?
Lily, she was fucking awful.
Redhead, awful.
I was like, "Hiya, Lily." She's like, "Hi," and I was like, "There seems to have been a bit of a mix-up. You've double charged me," and she cuts me off and's like, "Well, I didn't." And I was like, "Oh, Lily, I'm going to stop you right there, my love." You know what I mean? Like, roll it back. It's a Sunday morning. So anyway, to cut a long story short, they refund me there, and then fast forward 2 weeks, Booking.com charged me another £64, right, directly from Booking.com. And I'm like, what the fuck? I've called them many times. I've emailed them. They seem very unintent on helping. So I will get to the bottom of it, but they still owe me £64. That's from back in June. We're in August, end of August now. So yeah, but to digress, we put on a movie. We had some snacks, some coffee, and we just started talking, right, about not anything, not specifically sexual otherwise, but we just caught up and really started chatting, and it was a really, really lovely night. And
Yeah. Got up in the morning, went to a garden centre.
Garden centre, wandered around,
Had some
got some
breakfast.
breakfast. Full English. It was actually the full English was a little bit disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like off-brand beans, an
Yeah.
egg that looked funny.
Yeah.
Like the sausages were like okay, and the bacon was the shit.
And
you
then we
know,
were
like-
just like, should we go to McDonald's and go get a coffee? So McDonald's. And it was one of those things, I don't think there's been a day now where we haven't spoken to one another.
No, I don't think there has either.
But in the best way possible, it's been the best friendship I could have asked for in a totally sappy way.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure, man.
you've been this has been the best friendship that anybody could have ever asked for.
Yeah, and I could not agree more.
You know, regardless of how we met and how we've grown and everything like that, I don't think either of us, and we've said this multiple times, expected us to be as good friends as we are.
No, for sure. It's been a blessing, a privilege, and a true surprise. You know,
Yeah.
and
You know, if we go back to your birthday, for example, I bought you a couple of birthday presents, which you weren't expecting. You
oh
know,
my god,
you weren't expecting the birthday presents.
I was so touched, genuinely. I had such a day.
Yeah.
And you just picked me up so
there was
much.
that. Obviously, I bought you the tripod for phone and filming and things like that for everything you were going to do. And then there was the one little present.
My JTB Brady consultancy pen, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking a Parker pen in my little sheath.
Me and you bonded over Clicker Parker pens.
We have
both
indeed.
Fucking loved them.
We both fucking love one. Love them. They're in my pocket right now.
Yeah. And I got one engraved. This was just after you signed for a company.
Yeah, I incorporated on June 30th and got it in, and my birthday's July 21st.
Yeah. That was the birthday present to yourself, and then I was like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna. And there were all of these things that I thought of engraving on the pen, and I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? I've got a completely obvious option here. And that video that you sent me with you unboxing just makes me happy because I see the emotion in your eyes. You're like, holy shit, she's actually thought about this.
Yeah, honestly, I was so worked up, and it was such a thoughtful gift, and it was just that you believed in me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was and is one of the few outward signs of someone actually backing me, like, yeah, bet, you know, like Jamal's on it, and that meant a lot, and it's been a lot of what's fueled me going through the last month or so. You know, like, I haven't made a lot of progress on the business endeavours, etc., the last little while because of everything that's been going on personally, just sort of moving through, but even just being able to move through and keep going and keep, you know, working the way that I have been in contracting. It's I'm doing it all for the business, right? You know, I'm doing it all for me. It's been wonderful to have your backing through it, and the ideas and the vision that I've got for the future. I'm really excited for what we're gonna do.
We're gonna conquer the fucking world.
We really are. We are gonna become the Holly and Phil of the kink space.
Oh my god, yes.
Whoop whoop.
my God,
I like
yes.
that, right?
But, yeah.
This moaning.
This moaning.
This moaning.
This moaning.
Harder now.
Oh, is it cute?
Patent pending. You know, actually, Phil Holly, you can have that one for free. Get
Right.
Rylan to sing it for me.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right.
But, you know, we've had...
Next up.
But we've had, you know, we've...
Trash.
Fuck's sake.
You've seen his mum? She looks like a hermaphrodite.
Yeah. No, I love Linda.
Oh, so what? I love her. I love her on
those-
Celebrity Gogglebox. They're
No, I
fucking
love them on the radio.
fantastic.
If you listen to them on the radio,
They have a radio show,
Yeah.
do they? Big up Ryland's
Yeah.
radio show.
Randy has a BBC Two and BBC Radio 2.
BBC Two's paying that, man. Fascinating.
I love
The
it.
times we're
Honestly,
living in.
it's fucking amazing.
No, I'm
he
all
gets
for
his mum
fucking-
on Linda. Fucking love her.
That's amazing. No, I've only seen them. I've only really seen. I've seen them both on Celebrity Gogglebox.
I love Gogglebox.
Big fan. You know, love their energy. Their chat is great. So no, I've got nothing but big love to Linda, but she does look a little bit Brucey, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
no judgment. But I love it.
Mhm.
We're going to change the world. We really are.
Yeah.
We've got some stuff to do, Gina.
We've got some
But then
stuff
see,
to do.
right? So I do what? I do another contract, then I go to Delhi.
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
So what? October, November, December, Delhi, January to April.
Yeah.
Maybe stick out to Bali for a little bit.
Okay, can you stick out to Bali in February because that's around my birthday?
I can do that. Okay, right, there's the deal. If you help me land a contract that's from October through to the end of the year,
Yeah.
roughly,
Mhm.
I'll book to go to India for like January through to half February. I'll come to Bali for a month, you can
Amazing.
come out, and then I'll go back to India and finish off
Amazing.
the samples.
Perfect.
And then I'll bring back in my hand luggage enough tokens, keychains, scrunchies and shit for us to just get going.
Amazing. I'll build us a website in the time being.
Right, well, I've got a Squarespace one. I had to get one to get my Revolut bank account.
Of course you did.
But it's just a template. Do you want to? I can't even remember how to get into it. But like, I need to work on it, and then
Play around
I
with
think I need to pay for a domain, but that's worth doing. Oh, there's also right. I want to show you. I don't have Wi-Fi. The corporate Amex card. I'll show you back when I go inside. The
yeah.
benefits of it. Right, it's like 565 quid for the year, but what you get with it is just like.
Airport lounges.
Yeah, and like upgrades and concierge service. There's just like there's a lot in it that I'm like
Yeah.
for the amount that I want to travel, the places I want to go, being able to just like float in a lounge or get a nice hotel room for a decent price is just going to be
Old
like
money.
old money vibes, Gina. It is crew
Old
zipper from
money.
TK Maxx.
Recluse old money
Recluse my
vibes.
money vibe. Sometimes you see me in a beach hut, sometimes you see me in the Hilton. You just don't know where
No.
Jamal's coming or going, you know?
Jamal is that guy who remember we've all done this. We've all gone to a really fancy restaurant once in our lives. We've all really dressed up, and there is that person sitting in the corner of the booth with their fucking board shorts and like crappy t-shirt and flip-flops on,
Oh,
and we're
yeah.
all getting really annoyed about the fact that we've come here and we've got dressed up because it's part of the fucking dress code. I'm referencing the time I went to Simpsons on the Strand, by the way, if anyone doesn't know. It's the restaurant next to the Savoy. It's fucking lovely. I took my mum there for our birthdays. It was a really nice time.
We'll go there.
We'll go there.
We'll go there next year.
Best roasting you'll ever have, by the
Oh,
way.
I could do a good roast actually. Oh, you know what?
Can we get a roast this week?
Let's get a roast this week.
get a
I'm
roast this
totally
week.
down for that. We'll figure that
We'll
out.
find a roast
We'll find a
place.
roast.
We'll
We'll get
find a
that
roast
sorted.
place.
If we can't, we'll do a proper carvery when I come down before I leave the country. We'll get that sorted.
We'll go to a proper
But no,
carvery.
I want to go. My plan, right, is to go to whenever I go somewhere, I can go and use my points or whatever. Go to nice hotels, use the card, stay for a couple of nights. Then I can go somewhere cheaper in the city, go back and be friendly with the staff and still use all of the facilities. Right, I don't need to know that I checked out, and just do that wherever I go, and then continue to just
You
sort of
want to be
cycle
amongst
through.
the people, but
want-
also have the facilities with the people that are above the people.
What can I say? Father taught me that it's always good to learn
No,
and
Daddy
appreciate.
taught you.
Papa. Papa always taught us it is important to learn to blend with the scum, in case they come for us.
You know in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when Jake and Gina get into the executive club.
Oh my god, yes, it's amazing.
Yes, Daddy. No, Daddy.
No, Daddy.
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 Daddy. Yes,
Daddy.
Daddy. Yes,
Yes,
Daddy.
Daddy.
This
Oh my
man
God,
would
it's
let us into the club.
Starting to get a little bit sexual. Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy.
Yes, Daddy.
Yes, Daddy.
Yes, Daddy.
We should. Yes, Daddy. Breath mints. Did you hear that? Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy. Breath mints.
That's easy to do.
Edible candy. Everything.
Yeah.
Restraints.
Like love hearts.
Love hearts. butt plug little insignias that can. Right, we do metal butt plugs, right, but the halves cut out and it fits our own fucking.
Love that.
Edible, refresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the writing on it, and you can put different writing in it. So your dom's like, right, go and get ready for me. Go put the plug in, or what suite do you want to surprise me? And then that's how you can have a little bit of influence on how the night starts, right? One's like spank me, one's like fuck me in the ass, fuck me in pussy, and we have different ones. That's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I like that. Can I have a sweet right? I think I'd like to buy a couple of cafes as well as a couple of retail premises and turn them into sweet shops. They don't need to make a lot of money from the stores because we can sell online and it can be cheap. But I'd love to own a sweet store, Gina.
Yes,
You got the one in
I've seen you in a sweet shop. Yes, the one I took you to in Ampthill.
I basically have orgasms when I'm in sweet shops. It's not even funny.
So,
the people who run them get concerned by how much I spend. Like, it's not.
I took Jamal. This is when so he came over here for like a 4-day weekend, and I planned like the whole thing, what we were going to do on every single day.
We had a great time.
I planned a really good trip. And so the first day that we were both here, I took him antique shopping, and I took him to the Aston Martin garage at Newport Pagnell.
Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom, motherfuckers. And then I took you to this lovely little place called Ampthill, which has one of the best antique shops you can ever go to. Just around the corner from that is a little old-fashioned sweet shop. And I was like, oh yeah, we'll pop in it. I didn't know about Jamal's sweet cravings until there.
I'm more addicted to e-numbers than I am teenage pussy.
E-girls.
E-girls.
Yeah, I need that on a t-shirt.
I'm more addicted to e-numbers than I am e-girls.
I need that on a t-shirt.
Clip it.
But I remember I was in the sweet shop and all I wanted was candy letters and sherbet pips, and they didn't sell either of them, and I got really sad. I don't actually remember what I had in the end. Actually, no, I think I did have candy letters. I tell a lie.
You did get candy letters.
I did. They're my favourite sweet. And anyway, so I'm there. I've got my 100-gram bag of candy letters, and I think I had a bottle of water or something. Jamal has
cleared out the fucking store.
Jamal has got this shoelace. He's then got all of the edible pizzas and hamburgers. He's then bought a deluxe mix of Haribos, 400 grams of straws. And I would like to point out that...
And cherries, and the little green frogs, and the multicoloured frogs as a separate... I think it was about 100 grams of those. The owner, he was getting alarmed. He was like, so that's all. I was like, no, my friend. And I got iron brew, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I think I got some tea cakes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a couple of chocolate bars. I rinsed the store.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I did with them?
Left them at my house.
Left them at the back of your fucking car.
Yeah, I know, and they were stuck in my house for ages.
Yeah.
My mum loved those, by the way. She had a great time jumping through those.
I bet she did. That fucking cow. That fucking cow. Unacceptable.
But yeah, and then this is also coming from the man that has spent £25 in the King of Sweets store in Edinburgh.
I did go a bit crazy on the pick and mix. I've spent a combined total of, I think, £64 now on pick and mix since I got to Edinburgh. There's been 2 or 3 guilt-ridden, stoned moments of just needing sugar and on it. Do you want to know the truth? There's been 2 nights where I've been at the hostel. I've been really lonely, so a little bit down. So I've went to McDonald's. I've had my 3 plain burgers, my medium chips, and a McFlurry. Yeah. I've went to the Sweet Kingdom or Animal Sweet Kingdom of Sweets on Princes Street. Yeah. I've spent about 20-25 quid on pick and mix. I've went back, jerked off in the hostel, pod toilets, and then went and sat on my bed and sort of tried to not cry while I eat my my long laces. Yeah. Got me through though. Yeah. Got me through. Shout out to Kingdom of Sweets. They might be a money laundering operation, but the pick and mix is good. Yeah. Very overpriced. Mm-hmm. But the attendant was really cute. She was taken, but I did take my shot, and she didn't seem overly offended.
That's alright then.
You know.
Yeah, I think we've very much agreed that I'm definitely the savoury person in this friendship.
You are savoury through and through, both with your appetite and the way that you treat women and men.
And men.
Everyone, to be fair.
She's salty.
She's salty.
She's salty.
She's saltier than bacon strips.
You know, I've very much concluded to myself the fact that I am going to be the Bridget Jones of this century. And I'm okay with that.
I like that. I like that for you. Yes.
I'm okay with that.
I like that.
I'm very much of the opinion that
Bedford Jones.
Bedford Jones.
That could be your lingerie name.
Yes.
Gina's lingerie line.
But it's
Bedford.
I know in my heart I'm not ready to settle down yet. I think we both know that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's not that you're not ready to settle down, because I think that you are at a place where you can provide and what is needed for a relationship to work.
Yeah.
However, I feel like you haven't quite gotten to the point where you have carved out enough of what you are and who you are yet to be able to give yourself in the way that you'd want to a partner, right? And I think you're not far off.
No, I'm not.
But you're getting there. I think you need a little bit more time to just be you and just be free.
The last thing I want to do right now is invest.
Sorry, the tagline for the Gina's lingerie is going to be just sexy enough that it'll fuck you.
Wow.
You know, designed for the girl that's single. She doesn't want to always be glammed up, but she wants to be able to get on Tinder and not feel like she has to change.
Yeah.
That's the angle.
Outerwear is lingerie.
Outerwear is lingerie.
Lingerie is outerwear.
Bedford bitch in the streets, even worse in the sheets.
We both know that's true about
That
me.
is so true. No, yeah, you need to just fuck around a little bit more. Have a bit more fun.
This is the other thing as well. I've reverted back to my original personality type, the actual Gina that we all know now. Because when I first met you, I was a totally different person. Very quiet, very unassuming.
Yeah, very reserved, very hesitant. You know, very I wouldn't say submissive, but compliant.
Yeah.
Very just across the board, very in the matrix, should we say?
I mean, I'm extremely submissive in the bedroom, but in terms of out of that, I was extremely just compliant. Of just
you were in just in your day-to-day life, and then more in the behaviour that I observed. And when you talked about your life and your day-to-day, you were just very much in the rhythm of just people pleasing and not really much time or room for Gina.
I'm just trying to get through my day.
You were just getting through the day, my love, and that has done a complete 180.
Yeah.
Which has been wonderful to see. It's
now
been really lovely.
I'm back to being a bitch.
You are hardcore through and through. Wouldn't have you any other way. Oh my god, we've been talking for an hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah, I'm starting to get hungry now.
I was about to say, should we should we call that there and go do some food?
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I think we did pretty good. KKK Brainstorm Part 1. I think we've got some good ideas on the I was going to say on the page, but it's actually a spreadsheet because you know me, man is accounting through and through.
I mean, this is the thing with me and Jamal, is that we do brainstorm a lot. We've missed opportunities this weekend to remember to record stuff.
We should have had a microphone on the entire week.
We need to buy one of those mini microphones that you can plug into your phone.
Well, this can plug into your phone.
Yeah, no, but the really small ones.
Oh, the really small ones,
Teeny
right.
tiny
I'll
ones.
work on that.
We'll find one on Amazon.
Well, this is the thing. I think my sweet spot is when we're on the phone or voice notes and you're just like, go.
Yeah.
And you just trigger me on something. So we'll just start doing more of that shit when you're back home, and we'll for the brainstorming, and then we'll get a proper episode of KKK going probably tomorrow. We'll set the cameras up and we'll do a episode 1.
And possibly by the time you hear this, that first episode is long gone. That first episode has been up for 6 months, and this is a release on a bonus episode while we're both chilling in Bali for a week.
Right, 100%. Or Gina's been murdered by one of the suitors that I set her up with to try and fund these projects. You know, Sugar Daddy's gone wrong.
Need a pimp, you know.
Exactly. Well, I prefer pomp.
Pomp?
Pomp.
You pomp?
It's
Pomp?
It's
Pomp?
not pomp. It's pomp.
Pomp.
No, pomp.
Pomp.
I feel like you're not listening. It's pomp. Now you're just being disrespectful. Just one more time for me. It's pomp.
Pomp.
Okay, now you're just fucking trying to fuck me off. Look, I know you're lower class, but just work with me here, okay?
Lower middle, upper middle,
Upper middle.
upper middle.
Uncle Fudgy,
Fudgy.
we'll go into this another day, but just never see Uncle Fudgy, okay? At the Fringe, don't. We'll leave it there. Pomp. Listen to me, you wench. Pomp. See, it's not that hard. Pomp.
I like pimp.
Fine, I'll go with pimp.
Bam.
It's pomp. It's fine, we'll get her to work on it. Right, KKK Brainstorm Part 1. Well, there we go.
Hey, look at that.
There we go. What's our outro gonna be?
Toodaloo, motherfuckers. No, get kinky, stay safe, get kinky. Something like that.
I don't want to stay safe. That's a bit Ronery. It's a bit government propaganda-y, isn't it? Stay safe, 6 meters apart. Don't let the Chinese flu near you.
Okay.
All right. Don't go to
But
work.
it needs to be something like.
No, let me. I can have parties in Westminster, but you stay home. That's a bit too on point. I don't like that. Stay high, stay hard.
Yeah. Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily work for a girl, though, does it? It needs to work for both parties.
Stay high, stay horny.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay high, stay horny.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, stay high, stay horny. Shh, shh. That's right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
Right, stay high, stay horny, guys.